All right. Hope everybody can hear me out there. I didn't know what I was going to get to go live or not. Was sitting there with a big circle on it for a while. Let's see. So far in there, I see Road King, Tisa, G. Louise, Kevin Jays, Ed, Tiny Tim, how you doing, Tisa? I hope everybody out there is feeling fine today. Right here, we're having decent weather. The wind died down a little bit from yesterday, and it's kind of a good time to get out. And here I sit in my garage. uh, I thought today we might kick a few subjects around. I think most of you had seen where that property down there where Memorial goes that was surveyed, and the place they thought the stake was in at was exactly where it was at. So I'm hoping everything goes fine now when they reset up and that they don't have any more problems with the memorial. Let's see. Tisa, prayers go out to you. I happened to see in the chat there that you were having some problems. I hope the good Lord can assist you in your getting things taken care of here, and I hope He does it shortly. Tammy, I see you're in there. Cindy Clark, Ann, Noreen, Eddie. Let's see. Looks like we're starting to get a few here for our chat. Let's see. I got a list here I wanted to go over. Last week I put up a little bit about examples of how a narcissist might treat somebody that was very close to him, a partner, if you will. Could be man or woman. And you wouldn't believe it. I got somebody critiquing my critique. And, this was part one. And I don't know if you guys realize it or not, but you could spend the next 10 years trying to describe the different things a narcissist does. And you probably still wouldn't hit them all. Narcissistic behavior is easy to see what it is, but it's not as easy to figure out the ones that are going to hurt us. And I guess I should have said, I'm going to describe somebody that would hurt you as a narcissist because of the habits or how they do treat you. We all have a certain amount of narcissist personality within our whole. Okay. A lot of it has to do with people that tend to be a little on the selfish side. Most of the time, they tend to be maybe a little bit on the higher end of the IQ status sometimes. And those are the ones that seem to be the most dangerous, the smarter they are, because they can hide some of the things that they're going to use against you. They're intelligent enough to change the outlook of what they look on the outside, and they can be the most charming as well. And I already told you about the proof of property. Tulise started a program out the other night with that, and I was glad that that happened. I've really been on pins and needles over it because you never know. And I imagine Tina and her husband probably were worried too. At least I would be if I was in their shoes. Also had a little, I think I've almost wore the subject out over the benefactor, David R. Uh, and I don't understand why he used my name the other day in uh, the get swamped part because I wasn't there. And just so all of you understand, I don't have a big bone to pick with this David. He has give a lot of gifts out. My main warning was, you have to be aware of what strings a gift may have. And the ones given from the heart have no strings. They're not going to call you out and ask you what you did with what they gave. They're not going to ask you to give part of it to somebody else after they've given it to you. There's a lot of different things. Now, I don't have a big problem with David, other than he has called a few people out, and I don't think it's necessary, on somebody else's channel, because all it does is starts controversy. And my policy is this: I don't want to go on somebody else's channel and cause problems either. And if David wishes to give gifts out, that's great. I think it's good for giving them. It probably makes him feel good. At least I hope it does. And the people that receive them, I hope they feel good. I did notice when I went back over the channel over there on Get Washed or Get Swamped, he did give up a considerable amount of money in there. And, kudos for the sanctuary there, because it certainly helps that sanctuary out. And I have no problem whatsoever with that, and I'm happy for it. I just don't like my name used for shutting something down when I had no part of shutting it down. I was not there. I never made one single comment there, and I reserve it or try to my own channel. We all have a rights, to believe like we do. It's part of your consciousness, and he has helped different people out, and on others it's hurt them. One channel is thriving very well. There's another channel that actually dipped down very drastically, and I felt it was unfortunate, because I don't know if that was meant, in the way that was conducted. I can't imagine anybody wanting somebody else's channel to take a hit like that, but it sometimes does. Anyway, just so everybody knows, I have no problem with him giving out gifts. None. And the Lord knows there's many people out there that finances can help. And I would pray that they are utilized in that manner, okay? But I have no control over that, none whatsoever. And I don't want to take the blame for it either. So kind of keep in mind, it's not me out there that's doing it. I'm not doing anything to him other than what I said in the channel about using caution, okay? And I hope you don't get in the spot where you really have to have that kind of worry. I seen a couple of people out there that have been promised things that didn't happen. And it is extremely hard on somebody like that. It breaks their heart. And so to say they're going to give something and not, I'm not so sure that's something to do, or something a person should do. Okay. The other thing I had written down here was, of course, I had talked about the life around a narcissist, and that there would be more to come. And the one that, by the way, the one that critiqued my channel was pretty articulate, so they weren't a dummy. I couldn't call them names, but I could tell that they didn't really bother to read or listen to everything that was in my channel that day, and it would be very noticeable, I would think, and I would think people would be smart enough to understand that when you get into something like that and you put a number 1 up there, that means one with more to come. That's actually what that means, or hashtag, whatever. And that I put in there a disclaimer in writing, and also when I came up with it, that I am not a PhD, not a psychiatrist in any way, and that mine is strictly an opinion of what I've seen through a lifetime of getting around. And I was even critiqued on giving some of my stories, parables, if you will, thinking that they could help somebody out, but apparently the person that was critiquing them for didn't help him out at all. So, and if you go back and look at it, I went ahead and I had those removed out because they weren't going to help in any way of anybody else on there. It really came down to a troll, somebody that had one person that had subbed to their channel, and they had no videos of their own. And the video, their channel, I think, was quite old. It'd been around a while. So it wasn't as if they couldn't have thrown something up there to start out with. Not that that's wrong. It's not. But if a person's going to be a troll, I would think they'd put something up there for other people to come back and take a look at it so they can judge the judge, if that makes sense. I noticed, too, that there was a lot of the people that seem to be carrying on Jeremy's side seem to be thinking that the two attorneys that are involved in the federal lawsuit are going to get spanked, but they seem to think that Bruce will be the one that will get spanked the most. And I want everybody to understand we have an attorney that likes to jab, and the other one reacted to the jabs. In other words, Bruce was reacting to something that was out there. And you're going to find out there are attorneys out there that know how to push the right buttons. And also, the person that the attorney is representing, Jeremy, he figures out the buttons to push very quickly. He is a person that can read the people that are around him. He knows who he can trust to be around him to a certain extent. And he knows those that have a weak personality that he can chase down, that he can scare, and that he can overrun very easily. And so when he picks the battle, more than likely, he's the general on the battlefield. So the attorney is working for him directly. There's no two ways about it. In the way things are done, he found somebody that will work along the lines that he likes. Okay, back to being this narcissistic behavior. Besides the narcissistic behavior, if they have enough intelligence, they become very extremely charming in the very beginning, that drag you in and whatever. But if you ever notice, they're always critiquing those that are closest to them, and they love to do it in public. They want to show other people's flaws, and maybe you won't look at theirs close. And if you do find one of their flaws and you say something about it, you become an instant enemy, and they will go on attack. They're not going to let anything lie. They're very detailed in how they feel about the people that they're around and who they're going after. And just like the list that he's got, most narcissists will also have a list of people in their mind, and some of them might be foolish enough to put it in writing too, but of the faults in the person and what they wish to do with that person and what they're willing to do, how much of their self they're willing to give up to chase this person down and cause them misery. And we've seen it. I had a thing in there today just before I got on here on my channel where a woman said 750,000 people can't be wrong, Ray. You've lost 3,000 subs since you were a turncoat. Now, I don't know how many of you in here started out listening mainly to Jeremy, but there was a large amount of people that are now trying to help John and Michelle out that started out as a fan of Jeremy's. And the reason being, Jeremy is very good at collecting people to him. And I don't think you guys understand, he has lost a lot of people along the way. And if you look at him, the people that were closest to him are no longer there. They're gone. People that are closest to a narcissist pay the price of being up next to him because they're going to be under continual scrutiny and abuse, continually. And the better they get at whatever they're doing, the more they're going to get attacked. And you can see it in the way that things are conducted on that channel. Now, this person that came after me, I did answer it back, okay? And it's still up on the channel, by the way. I said that I actually had lost 4,000 subs, okay? But that I had the right to express my opinion on here, just as she did. I said that you have your right to express your opinion as I do. And I left the whole thing up there, not to show stupidity or anything like that, but to show that there's a difference of opinions. And no matter what, she won't probably be able to change my mind, and I won't be able to change her mind. It's just, but we can go on with life. And she came back one more time. And this time, she was more of an attack. And so I removed that part, but I left everything else up there. There's a difference between having an opinion and going on attack on somebody. So with that, I hope you understand some of the people that I have removed over time were on the attack, and they weren't there to listen or to express an opinion and listen to mine. They just wanted to make sure that I knew how bad off I was and that I was not the kind of person that they wanted to be around. And I don't understand, if they feel that way, why they even come in and said something in the first place. All right, enough of the gripe and rant and whatever else. And please, anything anybody has with this David R., keep in mind there's plenty of people out there that are being helped, and I hope it isn't changing their outlook on life. And this latest deal, does anybody ever remember when you would be around as kids and maybe you had to be picked for the different teams, and the captain, whoever was going to be a manager of one side or the other, would call people out of the group out there, and you hated to be the last one or not being called at all. So, the latest gift that I can see is a trip to Spain for, I think, 7 people. And I think that's wonderful. But between you and I, if I was to do that, I would make sure that I would not broadcast it. And there's a good reason for it. There's going to be hurt feelings because as a creator of, let's say this right here, if I had to pick 7 people out of all the subs that come and listen to me, how would I do that with a clear conscience? Because are they not all deserving of the same thing? But if I was going to do something like that, and I said, look, this is not out for public. I want to invite you. Let's go, whatever it is. And we did it in that manner, and it was not going to be put out in public because information sometimes can hurt feelings. Now, is there anybody here that has a dozen friends and you're told only 11 could attend a party? One had to be left out. They're all your friends, but one can't go. That's what I'm getting at. Like I say, if I was going to do something like that, I would make sure that if I was inviting somebody, I would like to keep it so that it isn't broadcast out to the whole public and then everybody gets upset because they didn't get invited. Same way with birthday parties. And it kind of related to, reminded me of the reason we got in here to help Lisa out in her endeavor to make sure that there was going to be a Christmas for a little girl named Harley. Everybody was invited in the town, the county, the little towns around there to a Christmas party in the creek, except for little Harley. Now, later on, they said, oh, she could have come at any time. And that is not true. If you go back through some of it, you'll see that that was not going to be a part of it. And it's unfortunate, but the good thing is that she was young enough. I don't think she'll ever realize that. What will stand out in her mind was this past Christmas, she was given a party that every child would wish for. I can't imagine how enthralled she was in this. And also, so was John and Michelle. I mean, if you can imagine the people getting together, and a lot of you were on this chat that were involved with getting that thing off and running, and even in some of the finances that it took to do that. That's a wonderful thing, isn't it? Because it wasn't open just it was a party for Harley, but there was some other kids that were invited that didn't get to go to the other party either the year before. And I noticed this year it was open because it was a little more open to the public, more so than before. But it was when it was handed over to the town, and there was a lot of reasons given for it. And I'm sure most of you looked at it. I don't know how much thought you gave to it, but it was a way for somebody to back out of having the obligation of doing it every year. So now it'll be up to the city whether they want to continue something like that. But it also, what had happened is, here's one thing that we're going to do, but it kind of takes away from something else, which is the annual town get together for their old days or whatever it was that they had going out there. As it was, a lot of people got to attend. They got to see things going, and nobody was restricted this year, which is great. I think it was good things came out of the whole thought process of it. And a lot of this started with, quite frankly, two leaves in a pod by starting their channel. And all of a sudden somebody come up and said, well, let's make sure it happens. Let's make sure that she gets that. Let's start trying to figure out how we can get gifts over there. And it happened. It was that easy and that quick. And out of that, we had a big benefactor come in and was a big help on getting the bigger finances coming in very quickly. And Lord knows, my humblest thanks to David R. for doing that. I mean, man, that was a great thing, and I'm glad you did it. And one of the hardest things for people to understand is you can do 100 things right, but before you leave, if you do one thing wrong, what do you think you're going to be remembered for? You're going to be remembered for the one thing you did wrong when you left. A long time ago, I learned you don't leave a bad taste in somebody's mind on your last meeting. Try to make it uplifting, regardless of what the meeting was about. When the meeting is over, try to leave everybody with a feeling of satisfaction when you all leave at the same time or whatever. And it's the same way whether you're giving gifts or interacting on something like this where you're, oh, shoot. The people who are involved, okay, on this, they had big hearts. And that's why they came together. They didn't come, none of them came together for a selfish reason. And in the beginning, I don't think David was there for a selfish reason either. And for whatever happened, he was pushed off the center line and made to believe something that wasn't true. And that has been my biggest gripe of following through on some of this stuff was, I know in my heart that channel is doing the things that the Lord would express us or want us to do. And that was the more people that come together that can do good, the better off we all are. And I would hope that everybody moves toward that avenue, regardless of what you believe. Try to help the people out that need it. Not the people that don't need it. If a person doesn't need it, what good is something going to be for them? Okay? And one of the things, I don't know if you noticed it, but one of the things in a lawsuit that I'm involved in was that I had mentioned about all he wants is money, or that's all I talk about, or something like that. I actually have that quote from his video of him asking for money. He said, I don't have any money. I want money. I want you to, if you give me money, I can give more money out. The Lord wants you to give me money, and I'll give this money back out. I always looked at it as I don't really need a middleman to do good. I can hand it myself, and I don't have to say anything about it. I can hand it over and walk away with a good heart, because all you need is that good feeling in the first place for giving. You don't need any accolades for doing it, nor somebody to pat you on the back. It will never be as good as when you just freely gave it out of your heart. That's the best you can do. All right. Now that I've explained some of the things out, and at least my view on it, and like I told that woman today that was on my channel, still out there, is that she has her right to believe the way she does. And she said that how can 750,000 people believe one way and what she was insinuating is somebody like me with little and losing subs be right. In other words, because there were 750,000, and there's not quite that many on the other side, by the way, but close, that believe differently than I do. And if we were to all sit down around the table, I can guarantee you that there would be a lot of things that we agree upon. It's just the main thing that we've got going right now seems to draw the most drama. And that is this little girl and her parents that are trying to raise her in peace, and a neighborhood dispute got it into federal courts. And that's what it is about. It's very simple. It isn't a big deal, but it was made a big deal. Okay. So let's hope that things like this don't happen often in our life. It gives you a slanted view of what people are out there. And even though we're not many, we're enough. And back in the times when Jesus walked the earth, there was a lot more non-Christians than there was Christians. So just because you're of a small group doesn't make you wrong. And I would like to tell you that. And so if you have a big heart and you feel good about yourself, don't consider yourself wrong. Consider yourself right. And I hope you agree somewhat with me that even though we have a lot of people out there that seem to hate our guts, if we all sit down to a round table and start discussing the things that are right and wrong, we would probably come together on most things. It's just that there's one element out there that seems to cause a big problem, and that is it comes right down to just there's some people that we wanted to help rather than tear them apart. That's it. No big deal, right? Okay. Now the rest of this chat, okay, belongs to you guys, and so let's kick back. Now, one thing I had seen earlier, Tisa needs some prayers. I hope everybody will get together and pray for Tisa. She's got some things coming up that she's going to need assistance on. And I think everybody here getting together can help her out. And whether it's suggestions or whatever comes about. Lord knows she's a good person. Oh, let's see. Let's get back in here. Miyagi. Oops, sorry. Not sorry. It's a great channel. All right. I got to slow a couple. What I do is I put my little thing up here and I stop my end of the chat so I can go down through it, and then I do a catch up. So if you get left out in between, please please don't get too upset with me. I'm just trying to see what's on here. Let's see. It says he had a whole telethon style live, and he had been asked if the money went to the cause it was supposed to be for. He has never answered that question. I'm not sure who you're talking about, Alternative, but Cat Lady said here 80% of the 750 are fake subs and bots. I don't think quite that many, Cat Lady. I think there may be some, but I don't know how many. Before he came to Otter Creek, he had close to 500,000, and it actually grew quick during the COVID part. And you got to admit, on his channel when he was doing the lockers, he really picked up on how to make it interesting to everybody. And like anything else, it was nothing more than a show. You know, you had to put on certain things that aren't necessarily really true. So he did know how to get people there. But the problem is, what did he do with them after he had them there? And something sparked interest in the neighborhood fight that made this channel just jump. I mean, you talk about quick. Once they hit Otter Creek, when you gain about 250,000 subs overnight or within a couple of years, that is very unusual. You have to hit the right buttons at the right time to do it. Let's see. Bearded Fisherman. It's real nice, man. Real open the windows in spring videos. Yeah, it is out there. Let's see. All about the alternative. He blocks people who ask for accountability for his collection of money. Uh, that's true. The things that have been asked of Lisa, you can't ask of Jeremy. You won't be there, and for a while, he wouldn't let you. Your comments wouldn't air until he'd looked at them anyway. Don't think he's going to let very much negativity on his channel. It makes everybody think he's an angel, doesn't it? Road King, no worries, Mr. A, it's fine. Let's see. Lori's sending you lots of hugs, Tisa, and prayers and love. Tiny Tim says, sending Tisa great vibes. Salona, 55,000 views divided by 750,000 subscribers is only 0.7%. Makes you wonder. It does. It absolutely does. The only way you can compare that, okay, just to give you an example, if you go look at, is it Jiva's channel? He's got 800 and some thousand subscribers. And go on the stats and look at his, and then look back at Jeremy's and see who really is in the running or forefront for subs that comment compared to subs that are just back there as subs only. So Tisa says, you are all the best. I am grateful and blessed with all our community of beautiful souls. It is something. The people that follow the different channels that are trying to help out in this endeavor have the biggest hearts of people I've ever seen. And I mean that with my whole heart. I really believe that. Road King says the math doesn't add up. Views versus subscribers. His views should be up a tad higher than they are. They should be. But remember, he's blaming that on something else. And that has, he's using that particular excuse to justify the lawsuits that are going on right now. Okay. I guess we're going to have to see what the experts say now, because it's going to get to that point real quick for witnesses. A stupid live about raising money for the Ants GoFund. That was really something, wasn't it? I happened to watch that when it was going on, and he got $15,000 or $16,000 out of that T-shirt that had the tea stain on it. That he washed the tea stain out, but he still put it up for sale. Can you imagine getting $15,000 or $16,000 for that to raise it? And you know, it was all about taking that poor little girl away from her parents. Why? Yeah, he says he's well under 90,000 views for several months. I looked at the stats on his channel, and the subs are down. And he's had a lot of them that are upset with him, not because of what they've seen on our channels, though. They have different things. Part of it is non-recognition. There's been quite a few people that were ghosted that were actually paying for memberships. There's nothing worse than paying extra to be a member and then find out that you're really not. I mean, you're ghosted. No matter what you say or do, it can't be seen by anybody else. But you have the privilege of giving him money. He didn't want to take that away from you, right? Tiny Tim says, thumbs up. Let's see. Katie says, we all love you, Tisa. You are our YouTube sister. Tisa says, more and more people are seeing his true self and the truth. I believe that too. People stopped watching because of his antics and ignorance. I think that's true, Tiny Tim. Tricky Chi got here. She says, good afternoon to me. Thank you, Tricky Chi, and good afternoon to you. Linda says, Jerm has no one to blame but himself. One thing I wanted that I didn't really say before, but tried to show as a part of what a narcissistic behavior is, pointing the finger at somebody else when it should be pointed at them. That's what a narcissist does. They don't take the blame for anything, and they double talk, and they're able to turn things around. They will spin it on you every time. And that's been proven true. And Lisa has told you that over and over. I wonder how he's going to spin it this time. He begged his viewers for time-stamped evidence. Shouldn't he already have evidence as the plaintiff? He told us that he did have all that for the lawsuits, and he does have a lot of information. But for the last at least 6 or 7 months, anything that I put on a chat or on my channel, somebody has came on there and said, we're going to timestamp it. I got it. And that's been over and over and over on a weekly basis. The amount of threats that I was getting has picked up quite a bit, and it comes in 3 or 4 at a time, or sometimes 6 or 8 of them at a time. And a lot of times it's at night when I'm not up to see it. In the morning, I look through there to make sure somebody hasn't squirreled my whole thing up. And you never know when it's going to happen. It does. And they don't care what they say about you. They just say it. They're there to hurt you. There is no, I don't mind opinions from people, because we all have our different opinions, and we don't like it. He says he's got a lot to spend this week. Yeah. There is something else I wanted to ask you guys to do, if you will. Bruce has got a hard week coming up. Pray for him that the Lord lifts some of that burden off his shoulders. And the other thing is, pray that they don't trip his trigger to get him to react to something that he doesn't need to react to. Bruce is a fine man and very intelligent. And the two people, Jeremy and his lawyer, do everything they can to trip triggers of everybody out here, all of us. And you've seen what's happened in the reactions. You've seen me get upset and say things I probably shouldn't say, because it's not necessarily how a Christian acts. But when you're pushed into a corner, you're going to come out, and you're going to fight your way out if you have to. And I guess that's the way it is. I've had more people come in and tell me I'm not a Christian than I've ever had in my life, and they don't know whether I am or not. That's between me and Christ, whether he's accepted my my prayers and passed them on to our Father or not. And not that the Lord can't hear them, because they're all there. They're all there. Believe me. The worst in his channel lately has been the way he treated Martha when Jeremy threatened to sue her sister. Absolutely disgusting. Remember, he was talking about her whole family too. And he was talking about blood means nothing. And that's got to give you an insight to what a narcissist thinks up here and what's in their heart. Okay? If they don't have it in their heart, any empathy, there's no way they can declare that they're Christian. I want you to think a little bit about the basic, what makes a Christian, or any faith. You have to have this heart. Okay? Not my heart, but I'm willing to share my heart with you. Let's see. Boadicia says, if I get, I lost it. Why did I lose that? Current Jail says, the voice of reason. My name's up there. I wish my voice was, credible, but I'm just an older fellow that's had a lot of experience. And, when you get to a certain age, you really don't want to fight anymore. And you don't mind sharing the information if people that out there are willing to take it. They don't have to use it, but at least listen to it a little bit. Sloan says, I pray for Bruce, and the good Lord makes right the wrong that his lawyer and Germ have done to him. Yes, Bruce needs everything he can get from us as far as all the help. He's been fighting an uphill battle. The day that he stepped out there and said, I'm going to help Michelle and John, there was a huge amount of people that started going after him and his family. And the same thing happened with Lisa. The day that she declared herself or stepped out there to show her true colors, which is she wants to help, she had the heart to do it, and she had the gumption, and she took the time. How many people can do that quickly and get something going? But I want to tell you what, she had, boy, that tide out there was, they tried to engulf her and still do to this day. She has to take a lot of name calling from people that were former friends. I mean, think about this. She was a mod over there, and how much hate she's had since the day she started this endeavor to help rather than tear somebody apart. Think what our Lord went through. He was put on a cross, spiked to a cross, for his beliefs and the things that he tried to do for good people, the downtrodden people on this earth. And he gave them a door to walk through so they could have eternal life. John 3:16. So when you feel like the world is against you, the person that's going to give you the path and the door for eternal life went through more than any of us have. And the fact that we're given the privilege of helping somebody out, like John and Michelle and little Harley, that is a privilege. Because you have to think about, I mean, it's so easy to go out and pat somebody on the back that may be president of a company, or a neighbor that just got a brand new car and, you know, paid off the debt to their house and all that. And you're over there, we're going to hold a party for you and all kinds of stuff. But what about the neighbor down there that lost their house through bankruptcy, and their yard's been a mess for the last 6 months or a year, and their car doesn't have a muffler on it, and they're the neighborhood disgrace as far as the neighborhood's considered. And they got there because they lost a job or whatever it was. And we didn't look at it from that standpoint. And as people go downhill financially and their families start falling apart, and we pick on them and we go after them. And yet all we had to do was reach out and say, what can I do to help you? Can I help you put a new exhaust system on there? Can we throw a party, a yard party, and raise some funds for this family so that they can pay their utilities and make their mortgage payments? When I was young, when I grew up in the 50s, people had block parties sometimes. I mean, everybody was everybody's friend. Nobody locked their doors. And when somebody was in need, and it was a poor side of town, by the way, not the rich side, but there was somebody there to help with a helping hand. It was a much different atmosphere. All we have to do is learn all over again who really needs the help, the guy with all the money or the guy that has nothing. It's simple. I mean, the one that's going to appreciate it the very most is the guy that can't even feed his family at the time. And it's not his family's fault. Even if he's the town drunk, it's not the family's fault that he is. The family still deserves a helping hand. Or at least we should feel that way. I'm getting it too far into maybes and stuff. But we've all run across the different situations where maybe we should have took another look at it. Let's see. Prayers to Bruce and praying that Jeremy gets what he's got coming to him. That's from Charlene. There is something that says out of chat and in need of coffee. Miyagi, you need coffee or what? Miyagi, not Miyagi. Oh, let's see. Sandra says, exactly, Road King. Tisa says, he is not a Christian. We are supposed to be of service to others. Love thy neighbor. There's a lot to that. You know, the biggest thing is you can't judge somebody by what they have. And that happens a lot, unfortunately. I wish it didn't, but it does. Team Otter Creek. 2 leaves in a pod says that. Hashtag team. Shawnee, team Otter Creek. It seems like germ destroyed that little town. But the thing of it is, the ones that think that that's such a bad place call it Otter Creek. The people that like that town call it Otter Creek. So you can tell right away who's been listening to who. Now, I like to think that it's Otter Creek, okay? That lovable animal out there that is cute when they're playing. Otter Creek was named after that stream, or else the stream was named after the town. But in any case, I got an idea that it was named after the creek. And it is not odd. It is a small town. People move there because they want to be there. And some people have been there for generations. There's a reason for it. John says, what's happening, everybody? Well, John, we were talking about you earlier. Do you believe that? It wasn't bad, though, John. I was wondering where you were at. Tisa says, hello, Debbie. Meredith, you're right. That's how people think sometimes. Even when, like in my case, for instance, I got out of all that being homeless and all that, I'm still held against that like I still am homeless. Bearded fisherman, if people were to look at you and what you've been through and what you were and what you are, you're considered a miracle man. You can look at all the things out there to help people that have an alcohol problem, a physical problem, drug problem, and see how many are really rehabilitated, how many get back on their feet and become citizens again, citizens in society. You are one in a million. And people need to remember that people that were able to come out of the fog and get into the light of the day again and interact with the citizens, that is a miracle. Okay? So, bearded fisherman, I've liked you from the first day. And I still do. I think you're great. And I really commend you for the hard work that you've had to do to get where you're at today. I really do. And I hope that you get some good mode of transportation and things do nothing but get better for you. You've come a long way. And you've got those two little friends there by your side that are your emotional support. And they've done a lot for you. I hope the rest of us can do as much. I'll watch later. It was the closing of, I was closing the flea market up. I was John Cook there, everybody. Team Otter Creek is on their kitty mama. Road King. Hi, Denise. Denise said, hi, everyone. She just got on there, apparently. So, John, how are the sales at flea market? That was Ogashana said that. Triggy says, have a blessed afternoon, Mr. Cook. John, I am sending you and your family hugs, love, and prayers. Stay strong. That's from Tisa. Tonight is going to be interesting. You will see more into the real germ. Do you hear that, everybody? Two Lisas. Two Lees. I'm sorry. I said Lisa. Two Lees in a pod. Tonight, you're going to see more of Jeremy Hales on there of what he really is. So I recommend everybody go over there. When you get there, hit the thumbs up. For you that aren't subbed, please sub to it. Let's help out those that have helped others. And that's got to be a shining example of a channel that's jumped in the race. And looks like they may win that race one of these days. My prayers are with her. Let's see. Can't wait to two Lees. Yep, I know. Everybody wants to get out there quick, don't they? Tisa says, hello, Christy. I slept late in to stay awake tonight. That was strictly corrugated. I can't wait for Lisa and Tori tonight. Boy, there's a bunch of them said that. Wow. Miyagi says, I have a free new laptop if anyone wants it. The silly thing doesn't speak my language. You know, I have said exactly that so many times when I can't get a computer to respond for me. Oh, let's see. He is going to have to find new ways of spending his BS. That's Tulise saying this. One thing I found out is that no matter what kind of proof you put out there, out of those subscribers that have chased around and raised hell with me, they can't read. And I think maybe they're partially deaf. I'm not sure, because no matter what you say or what you show, they come up with something different. And the only thing I can think of is that Kool-Aid must blind people to certain things, and it certainly has made it so they can't hear very well. You see, they've never heard two sides of any story yet to date. I'm amazed at that. And when they come in and they critique my channel, you can tell they didn't listen to the channel. They heard a few words and they attacked two words and made paragraphs out of it. I can't even do that. Oh, let's see. Oh my, let's see what we got here. Let me run this thing up a little further now. I'm running out of William says everything comes to a stop in our house when Lisa and Tony are on. I believe that. Nobody's ever made me stay up that late at night before, so they hold a record for that. My $1,000 laptop got stolen out of my camper with $5,000 worth of my stuff too. Wow. That's a heck of it. People want whatever people have, and they want to take the shortcut. I don't understand it, but did anyone see on YouTube ad for Whatnot? Jerem pasted his face over Mel Gibson's. It said Braveheart. I didn't see that. Tuli's show starts very early or late for us living in Europe. We'll catch up the next day, but miss the interaction, though. I can understand it. The interaction that goes on is pretty good. They tell me, now I haven't seen the interaction too many times after midnight, but they're telling me, and I think they're just saying that the action starts after midnight. That's what they're telling me. Now, they say it's a good thing Ray isn't here sometimes. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe they think that because of my age, my heart can't take it, all the fun and games that they have after midnight. I just read what's there the next day. And of course, it's subject to my interpretation. I don't get to see the real people as they're saying it and how they're doing it. So, but one of these days, I'm going to fool her, and I'll stay there till 3 or 4 in the morning and follow it all the way through. And then I can really critique it the next day. Dooley says LOL. Says we will support you, Michelle, and we will to the very end of this nightmare. Amen. Here we go. Palamop is on there. Hello, Awesome Ray. Thank you, Palamop. Let's see. Glad to hear you all are doing well. That was for Michelle. Hi, Michelle, and hi, Demon Cat. That's from Road King. Michelle, I got you Harley More Rocks. That's Ed. Adult content after midnight. They let it all hang out. I'll be darned. I didn't think nudity was allowed on here. Are you telling me that they changed it at midnight? Let's see. It gets saucy, Ray. Yeah, you know what happened? One day I said something about penis out there. Or at least they thought I said penis. I probably said peanuts. But anyway, they broadcast it, and everybody started asking me about it. 2 Lees is on there. Look at that. Hashtag Ray said nudity. Oh, heck. They really do have fun on there. And like anything, you have to have a tongue in cheek sometimes to enjoy everything that's out there. They don't have to worry about embarrassing me. I've been around too long to be embarrassed anymore. Eddie says, no nudity. Oh. Now, there you go again. See, Tully said, oh, my OMG. Hashtag Ray said penis. Yep. I think she did that for a giveaway, didn't she? On there? Something like that. I'm not sure, but I think she did. Now, see, Mahagi said, I said it again. How do you know I didn't say peanuts? Oh, heck. You got to listen, life is so short. You got to be able to laugh at things. And, we should not really be ashamed of what the good Lord give us. I'm telling you. He gave everything to us for a reason. And you just gotta enjoy life. That's all. If we get too restrictive, then we've ruined the whole world for us. And just because Adam and Eve decided to eat an apple and they decide to wear clothes after that, doesn't mean that you can't take them back off. You have to. There's certain functions you have to do. You can't have your clothes on to do it. So, oh heck. Most of us wouldn't be married if it wasn't for sex. So, the good Lord gave us certain things to make us feel good. So, and if we can laugh a little bit about it without being, we don't have to be prunes. Let's put it that way. It's all the concept and how our life is going. Okay, there's a lot worse things to worry out there than somebody's anatomy. Rod says, Ray, I have no dog in this and watch both sides. I watched your narcissistic talk yesterday when you repeatedly stated that this is not about anyone. Ray, you are no different than Jeremy. Oh, boy. I don't know why you say that. I mean, if I did all the things that Jeremy did, would I not maybe be a millionaire? I hope, let's put it this way, that I never turn out like Jeremy. And with my age, I probably would have been, well, I don't know if I could turn that quickly, tell you the truth. I don't have the days to do that. Oh, let's see here. Okay, Tully's. Oh. What do we got here? I always get these Windows updates on here for some reason. And I just did an update. Tully says, spit out the drink. Dysfunction says, hello, ray of sunshine. And to shout out to the beautiful community, you are having a fans-only channel. Well, what happens is it's on there. You have to be a sub to make a comment. And so people coming in from other places, they join for a few minutes. And it fluctuates. You'll go up one day and an hour later, it goes right back down where it was. But you can get a count of how many people are from somewhere else and join for a few minutes to come in and be entertained. What happened to Eddie? He said, how terrible, so sorry what happened. I'm not sure exactly what they're talking about. I hope Ed's okay. I did say sex makes you feel good. The Lord did that on purpose. I mean, that's the things that we think about and do, and that we all do. I mean, you can't really knock it. He believes in the sanction of marriage, though. So keep in mind, I still believe in those same things, too. The Concerned Plan says, I got in late. We'll watch after. That's Concerned Planet. Thank you. Miyagi says, Lisa, I want that on your thumbnail. Tricky Chi, Rod Kane, would you like a helping dog to munch on while you drink your germade. Rod Kane is not a fan of mine. I guess he came in here to spread Jeremy's goodwill, and it didn't go over very far, I guess. At least not around here. It's kind of like water and oil. They don't mix well. JP, I see you're on here. Lisa, you were supposed to keep the OF page quiet. There's a bunch of people got put in the corner over that. Tiny Tim, whoop. Bearded, I don't know about millionaire, but you would have to take a lot of those little blue pills, man. You know how to keep up with that. Well, one of the problems, when you think about the little blue pill, the other day, there was somebody in there, they had to take him to the hospital. I guess he took too many. Can you imagine how embarrassing that would be? I mean, especially for somebody my age. If I went in there and the blue pills worked overtime and I couldn't quiet things down. Oh, well, let's see. Miss Tom Tooley, Stockery girl, has returned to her country. That must be that one that spread so much goodwill across here so many times. It had so many names. See, makes you feel good, but if it's with germ, I'll pass and have a cold shower. That was the fictional mind. Let's see. Sandra needs to read the room. Let's see. Let's see. We'll have to go lurking again. Granddaughter wants me to have a great evening, everyone. That's Debbie. Uh-oh. Doc says, got to step away. My chickens are ready to be fed. All right, Doc. I didn't see you on there with Road King today, did I? Mrs. Tom, whoopsie. Peculiar Optics says Martha puts him in Jeremy's Kool-Aid. Woo. I think she'd be putting something else in there to make sure it never happens. Can you imagine? Is it after midnight already? That's Eddie Murray. Remember, now I'm just looking at the good side of things. There's always, a good and bad about everything out there. And it's not any different than looking at a glass, whether it's half full or half empty. We have to live in a world where we can, you got to be able to, you can't draw lines. You have to slide around in there a little bit. It's called enjoying the gifts of the Lord. And it's the perception of how you receive them that makes you think about it and what light you use on it. Ms. Tom says, no, I'm a real person, not a troll. Okay. Don't choke the chicken. Okay. Says, sure, you might learn something. Strictly corrugated says, dysfunctional mind. No, I don't need to hear that. Bearded fisherman, you think she used rubies or what? He thinks he uses rubies. I don't know. Says, wow, Ray is on a roll today. Oh, that was Jen. Now I'm getting accused of being spicy. The difference here, Rod, is you are being allowed to state your opinion on Germ's page. We'd not be able to allow such a thing. Germ doesn't want anybody to have fun. In real terms, think about it. If you are around a narcissist, you can't have fun unless he says so. I take you back to the meeting when they were talking about a festival for Otter Creek. And at the end of the meeting, everybody went to Willis to talk to him about it. And they didn't talk to him. That Sunday, he went on there and thought that it was not a good idea to have that festival. All of a sudden, it was going to be too dangerous for him to be there. But I'm telling you, if he isn't the center of attention, And if you don't hand the reins over to him, he don't want any part of it. So I'm telling you, go back and look at his Sunday Live that he did after that when they were discussing that. You'll see. Says whoopsie for Too Many Little Blues. They were originally made for BP, and that was a side effect, so marketed differently. It's about like the stuff that I take for my eyes. One of the medicines said that the side effect was to make your eyelashes grow. And I was looking at the bottle, and it's expensive. Anybody that takes eye drops, that's very expensive. And I thought, gee whiz, it wasn't so expensive. I could use it on my head and get a little hair up here where the bald spots are. It costs too much to do that, to rub it up there, though. Let's see. Road King says Rod has been slighted by old boys theatrics. I suppose. Rod don't like me. But there's a lot of people over there that don't. Like that woman that come in there today I'm competing with 750,000 people. And she thinks I'm wrong because of that. Where does that analogy come from? Goodness. Oh, let's see. Oh, what do we got here? Totally. Jeremy's using what he learned from his preacher days. Yeah. It says, Rod, you don't use God to cut people down, and you do not act like your God himself. There is a problem with that kind of thinking. It is a problem. And there's a lot of people that they get a complex like that, and they're better than thou. You've heard that over and over. And it's just not true. People interpret things in the Bible differently. And, the judgment part is hard to accept, that we're asked to let him do the judgment. And he's saying in certain things, we don't have the final judgment on anybody for life or death. We shouldn't, I don't think. And we do sometimes use that in a way we shouldn't. But on the other hand, when we have somebody out there that's doing nothing but tearing other people down, you have to defend yourself. You do. And at that point, it's not a matter of judgment. It's a matter of the history of a person. What they're going to do is what they already have done behind them and what they're doing on this day. And so Jeremy is an example of what you don't want to be. He really is. Learning life's lessons doesn't necessarily mean that everybody, you're good at judging people. It just means that you know when to get out of the way and stay out of the way and when to defend yourself. After all, if David hadn't defended himself, what do you think would have happened to the people? He was just a little person defending himself against a giant. The good Lord let him come out on top, didn't he? So there you go. Barry says, yeah, I remember all of that. They split with the town back and forth with Willis and stuff like that. I remember that. Yes, sir, it happened. Got to run. Tiny Tim says, see you at Tully's. So, a warning to everybody out there, Tiny Tim is coming. Uses God to manipulate people. Yep, he learned how to do that when he was a preacher. Nocturnal Nation, your message was retracted. I wonder what happened. Sorry I didn't even make a lukewarm preacher. Have a blessed afternoon, everyone. Sorry that didn't even make a lukewarm preacher. Says here, Palamop, hugs and love, Tricky, Tricky, Tricky. Take care, Tricky. That was from Sue Ann. Doc said, I'm back. All right, Doc. And Mrs. Tom said, yay. Thank you, Mrs. Tom. The spots from the spider bite still show, but they no longer feel like they're on fire. Wow. Let's see. It says, chat says, just got out of the dentist. Will chat when I get home. If the Novocaine wears off, right? Mike McDermott says hi to me. Hi, Mike. Paul says, love you and your wisdom, Ray. I wish it was real wisdom. I know there's a lot of experience I talk about. If I'd have been born with real wisdom, I probably would have, who knows what I would have been. Mike says in chat, we've been working around the house. Let's see here. Mike Arthur's personal page must have got shut down too. Guess he won't be sharing HG photo anymore. He's been a little milder lately. I don't know what's going on with his channel. I know that they always like to make some kind of remark about what's going on out here. They usually don't back it up with anything. They just make remarks and go on. But it's a weird channel. Some weird people in there. There's one on there that's on there all the time that I had kicked off my channel. But he was a weird person. He seemed to be woe is me all the time, and supposedly was a former veteran. But I had a hard time working with him. There was something strange there, and it could be PTSD. I don't know. I just know that he wasn't the kind that I wanted to be around. He used his son for excuses on some things too, and that kind of upset me. Ray, sounds like the weather could be interesting tomorrow and Wednesday. That was John Phillips said that. I don't know what they're talking about. I know that I think this week's supposed to be kind of a rainy week. Doc says, I was out fishing yesterday. So King went on solo. Okay. You guys need to get you some walkie-talkies so you can talk to each other while you're doing that. And the other thing, Doc, if you watch Flutter, you notice that when she's out fishing, she gets on there. And you guys could be on a phone call together and talk, you know. Of course, I know it'd take away a little bit of the fishing, though. Bearded says, he sounds like me. I can't come up with anything good lately. Everything's been a horror story. Don't want sympathy either. Oh, Bearded, I hope things get better for you. I know you got those two best friends there that seem to be able to keep you going. Let's see. Mike says he's been taking a break with my German investigation this week, mental break, if you will. Been busy with the supermarket and home stuff. Yeah, I spent 2 weeks, and this goes back almost a year ago, looking into the background. And even though I found a few things, it was hard finding written documentation on some of this stuff that I seen back there. And I went on a lot of different channels, and I mean, he's been around a while, and all I can tell you, the MO he had back then isn't much different than it is right now. The personality he had back then was what it is today. It isn't something that it seems like it has gotten worse with the more subs he's got, because he's got a bigger head now and thinks he can get away with more. I believe that. That's my opinion, obviously, but he's one of those that if he didn't have a lot of people to or minions, if you want to call them whatever they are, he wouldn't be quite as sure of himself and try to do as many things as he does, because right now he acts with impunity. And everything he does is right, and everything everybody else does is wrong. He can do it, you can't do it. That's my opinion, obviously, but that's the way I see it. Oh, Tammy says, I think Lisa needs a little break. She was a hard worker, isn't she? I don't know how she keeps up with all of it, but I tell you, Tori is one of those two that has jumped in there and made things work out. And I believe she's the historian in there. And she does multiple things at the same time without losing a beat. And Lisa does the same thing. I don't think she ever does one thing at a time. I think it's always multiple things. Keeps her busy. Keeps Gabe entertained. Oh, I think we ought to give Gabe a microphone. We need to give him a setup up there so that he can get his 2 cents worth in as we go, don't you? I think he would keep things pretty lively. Well, listen, I thought we said about Lisa getting to need a nice getaway soon. Wasn't she looking at those way to purchase maybe one of those ships out there so we could all go together? Maybe that could be our next thing we'll try to get together on, is just pool everything we've got and see if we can't buy one of them. They can't be too much. Maybe we can buy one of the older ones before they put it to rest, and then we could take one or two last trips in or something like that. Let's see here. One of the best ways, Mike, to investigate is go back and re-listen to all his lives. And he will give you just about everything you need. He's not going to give you history on the other side of the Maryland Raby case, because way back then it wasn't gathering the effectiveness back then that it is today. He couldn't do today what he did back in 2014 when he was a minister, because he would not have been able to preach to another congregation if he was to act like he does in any one of his shows right now. So what he really gave up, and the skills for doing it what he had back then, what he gave up was his claim to Christianity, in my opinion, when he left there that day, and he changed his mode of operation purpose. He was not gathering anything for the Lord, he was gathering for himself. And you can go right back to that day. That's when his fortune changed. My opinion. But if you go back, Mike, and look at things before and after, the change happened somewhere around 2014 in his monetary gains. My throat's getting a little dry. I think it's because I'm running out. Let's see. Yeah, I know. It says, "Oh, I got history, Ray." I know. Well, you were there before. I know. You were a mod in there, so you got closer to the inner works of what's going on there than any of us put together, I think. It says, if Lisa took a week off, Jeremy and the cesspool dwellers would have nothing to talk about. Well, Ed, I want you to think about this. When things slowed up, what'd they do? They all went back, picked history up, and then run it around the loop again. That's only been a few weeks ago that they did that. Tisa said, thanks for the live today, Ray. Love you. Thank you, Tisa, for being here. We love to see you on here. And we hope you're getting better. Everybody, again, remember, pray for Tisa. She needs your help in prayer, please. Lisa's luck, the germ would say that Lisa was in jail, which is why she wasn't on. Well, they already think she's a lot of things that she's not. I mean, they've accused her of everything you can accuse her of. I'm surprised that she's seen the light of day for as many things as they accuse her and Gabe of. They wouldn't be walking the streets today. But that's my opinion again. Word of advice: the twister game plastic does not work like a parachute. Oh. It says 2 Lees, you have police reports, right? John says, hello, Miyagi. And Miyagi said hello back. She said, John Caps. Thule says, germs, BS, and nothing new. Lisa, me in jail? John said, hello, Ray. Funny Sonny, Doc, good to know. Oh, let's see. Oh, it says, dang, they went nuts when Tori wasn't on there for a few days. They didn't know what to do with themselves. Tori don't usually say a whole lot. She's pretty busy taking in everything that's going on and then answering at the critical time. It claims Celona was Lisa just as stupid as saying Tori was Kendra. You're right, Ed. Haley Jensen, I can't deal with this dribble. Oh. Haley Jensen, huh? Okay. Grandma Buckeye said, I miss Tori. Bye, Haley. That was quick. Oh, remind me never to get in a gunfight with you, Lisa. Oh, heck. Road King got her. Okay. Miyagi said, ta-ta. In case any of you don't know what that means, it says goodbye. That's what ta-ta is. It says, Doc, my brother thought their Superman Halloween costume would make them fly as they fell down the stairs. When I was a young kid, everything was Superman was the big hero back then. You'd be surprised how many kids would jump off a shed or something with a sheet so they could kind of parachute to the ground or try to take and put something around their neck and make it fly. Most of them learned after the first time they jump off a roof. I never did anything like that. I didn't believe in that. But I did think that it was possible to build an airplane and run it fast enough to fly. And that don't work either. But I did build a few airplanes when I was pretty young, small model airplanes. Let's see here. We use sheets too that was shared. Michelle, are you still here? I haven't seen her in this chat here for a while. I hope she's doing okay. I still don't know how, I was thinking about it the other day, the amount of pressure that's put on those, her and John, and how they put up with it. I mean, I don't even know how they keep their sanity. It's got to take its toll. It just does. And John, have you and Michelle, have you guys had a vacation in a while? I mean, when was the last time you could get away from everything and just try to enjoy a week or a weekend somewhere and just get away from everything, even a weekend? Michelle, she says, I'm here. Michelle, what about that? Have you, since you've been there in Otter Creek, have you guys ever been able to take a weekend just for yourselves? Uh, and I don't mean just you and John, but you and John and Harley, just so you could just get away from Otter Creek and just relax somewhere on a beach or just do something, even if it's relaxing, being around one of your kids, things like that. Yes, Michelle says it's not easy, and it gets very, very hard to deal with. Uh, okay. Now here she says, no, we haven't, and I wish God we could just go fishing or do something. That's one of our biggest love is fishing and deep sea fishing, and we haven't gone fishing this whole time. You know, everybody at one time or another needs that break, and I hope that the day comes where somehow we can figure out a way so that they can get away for a day and do some of the things that they've wanted to do. You know, Florida has all these beautiful things to do, and I don't care if it's go out into the swamp and just see all the wildlife, or if it's go over to the Atlantic Ocean or into the Gulf. Uh, all these are gifts from our Lord, and people they're out there for us to enjoy, and we need to pray and hope that John and Michelle and Lou Harley are going to be able to do that. If it wasn't for all the things that are going on, they probably would have been able to take these vacations, but it makes it hard. You know, I know life is hard, but it shouldn't be that hard for people that don't deserve to be captured like this. And just so everybody knows, when you can't get out of your house and you can't go out, you can't even go uptown without being followed or harassed, that's the same thing as being a prisoner. It's being in jail. It's not fair. The Lord never planned for anybody to be like that. Matter of fact, the Bible is very clear about if you're without sin, let you cast the first stone. You know, it breaks my heart when somebody has to pay the price when they don't deserve this kind of treatment for year after year after year, and you can't look forward to a better time. And although it's been spotty, some of it, and I know all of you there are wishing the very best for this family. Let's pray for it. Let's see if the Lord can provide some time for them to have time for themselves for a change. Let the burden of all this harassment go away for a few days. Let them have that privacy. Please pray, and let's find an avenue for them to do just that. Somehow, I think that needs to be a priority for them. 4 years of this type of harassment and containment to a small piece of property of around an acre. And even there, they're harassed from outside that fence with cameras and boom boxes and harassment from people from everywhere. So keep it in mind, people. One thing I want to tell you and Michelle and John and little Harley, our best wishes are with you. And I know everybody here in their heart, they want those things for you if it can happen. I can understand. I love to fish. I love to get out there and fish. But when I lived in Louisiana, we lived pretty close to the Intercoastal Canal, and we went out on most weekends, and we went out as a family. We loved it. Yeah, Ed says can't stop at Walmart without being harassed and stalked. Yeah, we've seen that on film. It gives you something to think about. I mean, why is it that family can be accused of doing the stalking when the proof that we see is reversed? It's the other way. And it's not a matter of reaction on their part. They've been very quiet, and they're trying so hard to lead an exemplary life so that they don't deserve this punishment that's going on out there. This is awful. And that includes the lawsuits. People, this is terrible as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, see, Michelle here, I want you to listen to this. This is Michelle now. All I want is everyone to know that we love and are grateful and thankful to everyone that has helped us. Everyone. We would never do anything against any one of you, no matter what anyone says. See, that's heartfelt. That's Michelle to all of you out there. That she has a heart, and I hope that more and more people see that. See, the bearded fisherman here says, I can't understand why none of this is unnoticed by the police or anything. And it keeps on going on and on and on, and nothing's being done. And that piece that I talked about, where the police investigated when they were turned in by Jeremy, and found that it was unfounded, and that in fact it looked more like he was doing the harassing. And they went on their live. They dedicated a whole video spinning that and calling this police officer out. That takes a lot of balls. I mean, he's the one that called the officer. He called it on Lisa and John. Or not Lisa, but Michelle and John. Sorry about that, Lisa. I didn't mean to put your name in there. And accuse them of something that didn't happen, specifically John. How do you get away with that? I mean, it was plain. I mean, he looked at the videos. He talked to the John and the gentleman that was there with John helping, and found them to be credible by the things that were around him, by the conditions that we were in at the time. And even the fact that when that video was handed over, it had said something about it's time to go over there and film these fools or something to that extent. On the very first part of that thumb drive that was handed to the police officers. They set up right off the bat, putting in their words. So my opinion, obviously, is the same as that officer. And now he is saying that officer had no right to put his opinion in there. And yet, if you're investigating an incident, you have to give what it looks like to you, what is there, and he did every bit of that. So, yeah. Kitty Mama says, I pray every night for your family, Michelle, and I pray for Bruce too. He's a good man who will do right by you. Yes. Bruce has got a hard week, coming up here. And, he hasn't been dealt a very good hand. John says, Stacy and Michelle will check. Harley's always doing stuff with her phone. Just looking, have you heard of the verse, pray without ceasing? How can a Christian ever not have Jesus' name in their mouth? You're right. For some reason, as I go about doing things, I have a habit of mental prayers, and I do them through Jesus, or in Jesus' name. It's a habit. And I guess when you get to that point, your dependency on a higher being is there every minute of your life. And you feel bad on the times that you slip. After all, none of us perfect. And sometimes your feelings are hurt for anybody to even believe you're anything but a Christian. It does, it changes your perspective immediately about someone when they accuse you of something similar to that, because it's so basic in nature for people to want to be good and to believe in good. It's not naive. It is a morality that's in you. Road King says, Bruce is a smart man. I'm sure he'll be fine. I really hope so. Like I say, prayers, I think, are going to be needed as well. In the court system, I went over it a lot of times, and the balance of scales sometimes are offset with finances. And when one person is going to decide a case, how that person feels makes a difference. And when you go before a jury, no lawyer can predict what that jury is going to say or do. And it depends on the charisma as much as anything of that lawyer in front of that jury to get a positive outcome. So let's pray that truth will be at the forefront of these trials coming up. G. Louise says, look, just looking, I will never take Jesus out of anything ever. He needs to be in Otter Creek. Ed, you're right on that. He is using the PO as a weapon, in my estimation. It says here, Bruce needs to keep his temper in check. I believe so too. When he was attacked on everything that there is, he was attacked by his race, his physical anatomy, and it's done on every one of those channels that follows Jeremy. And when you have that continually, it takes a toll on you, and your temper comes to a certain place up there. We're certainly going to have to pull all those strings and pray as hard as we can that the good Lord helps Bruce stay in control, that a cool head will prevail, and let us hope that the goodness will show. Bab says, I think if Tina and Brian file trespass charges against Germ, they should get with the police and have the honor of filming his arrest for the entire planet to see. That'd be good. I really would. I'd like to see that as well. Thomas got the honor of taking his picture when he was served papers, so it would be good. If this happens and Tina and Brian do go forward and get the charges filed, you want to pray for their safety as well. And that it'll be spun in a different direction, and that they'll be given a special hour on his Sunday Live for sure. He always does that when things are really tight. So these people, Tina and her husband have had to put up with a lot over there. And, we've seen by the video that was put up by Germ, she was baited into making conversation that normally would be kept to herself and was never intended for the public. And we're all guilty of sometimes of saying things that we don't mean. And Jeremy knows just exactly how to prod somebody into a direction to get what he wants, and then it becomes part of the fodder for him for future. He knows that. He banks it, indexes it, and he's got it ready by the push of a button. So anybody out there that has had to deal with him knows how he acts. Let's see. Stacy, I have no idea. Only one other person is blocked on YouTube. I've never blocked anybody. So I have no idea how it happened. It had to be a mistake. Strictly Corrugated says, stop, Ed. Uh-oh, what's Ed doing? Oh, boy. Tell Beer did that. Okay. Michelle, don't sweat it. It happens. Heck, I have hit wrong buttons at times, especially when tired. There you go. Michelle, Stacy's not too upset with it. Sandra says, bye, everyone. Have a wonderful afternoon or evening. I have to go drop off Little Red. It's so wonderful to have his company on Friday and Saturday. Tammy said goodbye, Sandra. It's to stop blaming me for something I didn't start. Oh, boy. Oh, what do we got going here? Yeah, we probably shouldn't say too much about politics. That would piss off a big portion of the people, no matter which side we're on. I always try to modify it by the fact that I'm for individuals rather than a party. And there's good reason for that. But I also believe that we have to have a two-party system to keep it from being a socialist country or a dictatorship. And the good and the bad will fight its way out through our court system. And the politics can get volatile. And each of us have our own reason for voting for somebody. But it should never be taken out of the context of they don't have a right to vote for who they want. So let's keep it in mind in that direction, and you'll be fine on here. There's things I don't like about different presidents. When I was in the military, they pretty much taught us don't ever talk about the president. He's the highest, he holds the highest job in our nation. And we have checks and balances in there to keep them in line and to keep us from falling into the same thing that, let's say, Russia is or Cuba or something like that. We don't want that to ever happen, and we don't want it to get out of hand. So the politics we can leave behind, and we got our hands full with trying to help John and Michelle out, and that's our first thing that we want to do, fellas. And I get blamed for a lot of things in politics, and in real fashion, I am pretty conservative, and it has to do with because of I worry, over the years over things like finance and our keeping our Constitution intact as it is, and not try to change it. We'd like to think everybody is a good person, but they're not. And no matter who we have, they're going to have flaws. And the higher the office, the more we look at the flaws. And we need to look at what we can accomplish as individuals through the power of vote. How many countries have that? Um, let's let's keep everything on the fact that we're lucky we're in this country, and I've seen other countries, and I think we're blessed to be here in this country. And I'm willing to put up with some things I don't like about the country because it's so great in other things. And if we want to do something, let's do something about getting people off the street. Let's do something about people like John and Michelle that are being pushed down, that maybe don't have the finances that some of the rest have been able to have. And somebody comes along and starts tearing them up, and they bring all their friends over for a party of who can tear them up the most. And that's wrong. So let's keep everything like that in mind. Let's get rid of the things that there's nothing we can do about the politicians that are up there other than vote them out or vote them in, one of the two. But we don't have to throw rocks at each other in any way, shape, or form over their belief. And I don't care who you are or what party you belong to. Each of us have that right in this country. And we want to keep it that way. Now, I'm not trying to lecture any of you into backing off from how you feel. I think that we need those feelings that are opposition of each other to keep us on track. We just don't want to tear things up as we do it. We just don't. We have a beautiful country, and let's keep it that way. And let's not ever lose our Constitution. Don't let somebody talk you into taking it away. And yeah, I am worried about some of the things that are out there that bothers me. And I'll do it through my vote. But I won't do it by throwing my friends under the bus. I'm not going to do that. So let's not throw each other under the bus. Let's go. Let's see here. And I'm not calling anybody individually out. I'm just saying as a group, we've been so good about helping people that need help. And so let's keep that in mind. And since that's our target, let's not put a target on each other. And I know we're all going to slip. I do every once in a while because somebody will do something great and I like it, and it might be a politician, and I'm going to have half the people say, "Ray, you're all wet." So we can't all be right and we can't all be wrong. Yeah, it says yes. Ed, some have been removed due to views on the subject, so politics isn't Ray's channel. It wouldn't be so bad, people. But we all have that same right, and we should be defending the right to have that right. I can't tell you how important it is. And that Constitution, we've got to be careful not to mishandle it, and very careful about who we put in there. My estimation, we need to do a better job of choosing the people at ground level so that when they get there, they're doing the will of the people. That's my belief. And we have some that are very good at it and some that are stinkers. That's life. That's all of us. We're all fitting in certain categories. We are what we are, and what we voted in, what's up there, that's on us. Not them. It's us. We did that. Oh, let's see. No more rocks. Ray, have you ever interviewed Bruce? Well, on my channel, most of you know I'm not tech savvy. So to do anything like that, I would have to be on somebody else's channel. And Bruce is very articulate, and so I pretty well know what his world is like. And we both are pretty much on the same page in how we believe things should be or go. I really like Bruce, and I'd like nothing better than to sit down and have a talk with him and go over whatever subject he chose. I might not understand the legal part of it all that great. I'm more comfortable in the business world rather than the legal world. I mean, the legal world is not an easy one, and he's got a lot of experience out there and what to expect. And I just pray that all that comes together for him in the next week. Yeah, there it is, Stacy. If you only believe one way, you'll never understand fully the issues or how to help. And yes, I believe that completely, Stacy. I'm glad you said that. Living the country life. Thomas, how you doing out there, Thomas? Glad to see you. Oh, let's see. Your yard is looking wonderful. That's from Sharon. And that was for Thomas, by the way. Yeah, Thomas is an example of somebody that, he's good-hearted and he does a lot of things around that town out there in Otter Creek. Lives right down the road from the city limits. He's very, very good to people. He isn't on the prod all the time. And at the same token, he's not going to back up either. Thomas would be a good neighbor, I believe. And yet he's attacked every time Jeremy gets a chance going after him. And I don't think there's a good reason for that. Why create a problem when there's not a problem? Why would you? It just don't make sense to me, that whole thing. But maybe somebody else can explain it. Oh, let's see. That says he's defending himself in his loud opinion. You can have your opinions, Ed, but just for right now, our big thing is going into protection out here and trying to work together to help John and Michelle out. And we don't want to get into a point where we have this inter-channel problems because of problems outside of, we don't need to create problems. And politics does nothing but create problems. It just does. The number of people that we have in the different channels that have a common goal, we would lose a huge percentage of the people if everybody said, I don't like that, goodbye. We don't want that. We want to be able to sit down, and if there's a subject that we can't agree upon, we say our thing, a piece, and then we leave it alone. Because we're not going to change somebody that doesn't want to be changed. So there's no reason to keep going bang, 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 bang. It just doesn't work. We can't do that. Sorry, Ray didn't want to stir something up. No, that was Michelle. You didn't stir anything up, Michelle. Don't worry. I understand. People like to talk politics, and you're going to stand up for the person you really believe in, and that's fine. But there's a right place to do it, and we have a beautiful country here. Let's not destroy it. Let's not do that. Let's help a peep grow. There we go, Spade. Yeah, Radass went after Thomas too. That guy is despicable, in my opinion. He is. I can't imagine that guy. He can't feel good at night. To feel the way he does about everybody out there and do things like he does every day. And he's obsessed with this diary thing. What in the world is wrong with this guy? Lord. Germicide said, I'd like to see Thomas take Deanna to court for defamation. I don't know, Thomas has been pretty good about, he'll call something out and then move on. And if that was the way different people reacted, it'd be great, because you realize there'd be no court actions going on, and we wouldn't have to worry about trying to help John and Michelle out. They would already be free of the shackles that's been put on them from a crowd of over 750,000 people. That everything would work out better. Disputes can be handled by defend yourself and walk away from it. That's it. But it hasn't been done here. It was turned around, I think, strictly for money. And it's a sad state of affairs when people do that, but they do. There's people that are opportunists, and that's part of what we're dealing with. And again, that's my opinion. And it'll be pretty hard to change that opinion. As far as I'm concerned, uh, Michelle deserves better than what she's getting. And I'm glad for so many people out here that are helping her out. And if for some reason she makes mistakes down the line, then she can join the crowd of the rest of the human beings. We're all making mistakes every day. It'd be so easy for each of us to point at each other in some way or the other. It could be nothing more than the spelling when I put something out there, or the fact that, give an example right here. See that? A lot of times it's kind of wet there. I had a stroke on my right side, and I have a hard time with this side of my face. The muscles, as I get tired, this side of my face will droop a little bit, and I get a little bit of saliva out there. So it's wet. You see me do this every once in a while. It was due to a stroke that I had almost 20 years ago. As a matter of fact, it was 16 years ago. But we could call things out on people, whether it be physical, something similar to that, or lack of hair, store-bought teeth, little things like that. We all have a flaw, and we can live with it. If it's a good thing we're not the same, we wouldn't have anything to talk about. And there would be no subjects that we could talk with each other about because we'd already know what the end is. So thank the Lord for making us different. Yeah, you're right about Jeremy will be in court his whole life unless they stop him from doing it. And it could be stopped. So we'll see. Yeah, once the stool is kicked out from underneath Jeremy, he will go somewhere else. They're not going to change basic character, I don't think. They're against opinion, but this is Thomas is great at showing what's going on in Otter Creek. Yeah, that's correct, Ed. He tells you the real stuff. When he puts it on there, you can count on it. You can take it to the bank. That's what's going on. In Germ's head, I love this. In Germ's head, okay, let me get back up here again. This is his world, and we are mere trespassers. Okay, Kitty, I think you're right. Like I say, I think you're right. Peculiar Optics says, man, I am switching to organic grass-fed beef. It is superior. You know, we went through quite a few years there where almost all beef was just on grass. And it doesn't always work out well because when you get beef out of Wyoming and Montana and different places, whether it's Texas, if you don't use a certain amount of grain, you don't get a marbleized effect on the beef itself. And, even years ago, people would pull them off the pasture and grain feed them for a while for their own personal use. Every farmer will tell you if you don't fatten them up a little bit, you're going to get stringy beef that's very hard to prepare. You could do it, but you got to do other things to it. And the grain, if a beef is given grain, organic grain, then what is the difference? So organic is just keeping all other things out of it, whether it be different types of medications that are in the stuff. You can buy organic feed. And I tell you that because there's a little farm, or it's a off-grid type, well, it isn't even off-grid place, but some people have about 10 acres and they raise their own animals, but they buy organic grain for their chickens and hogs for supplement feed. And they've had very good luck with it. It's as expensive as if you go to the butcher shop, the end result, because it costs more to do things that way. And they choose to do it because they want it that way so that they don't have all these different medications or growth hormones coming in to affect their self and their children. But a grain-fed or I mean a grass-fed beef. There for a while when we were getting nothing but that, the beef didn't have much fat in it, and it was a little tougher. And so for quite a few years there, uh, it was going back to the 1800s. But myself, I prefer somebody that's raising it for themselves, a black Angus that was grain fed the last 6 weeks or so, along with the hay, and get a little bit of a marbleization in the meat, which keeps it tender and also gives it taste. The taste, for most part, comes as much from the fat as it does from the part of the steer or cow that it's taken from. I've eaten a lot of different types of beef, and the ones that were hand fed, if you will, for personal use, were the best. So now, I wouldn't make a very good farmer because if I was to raise a calf, I would have an awful time doing something with it and then taking it to the butcher and then sitting down to supper with that same beef on there. I would have a hard time with it. I would not make a good farmer at that point. When I was young, it was different. I was raised going out and hunting wild animals, whether it was pheasants or squirrels or rabbits, raccoons, deer. And it didn't bother me because I was raised that way and I knew how to dress things out. But today, because of modernization and the lack of need for having something on my table, having to go out to get it, to put it on my table, it's easier for me to go to the meat market or the grocery store and buy those things. And I don't have to think about what happened for it to get there. I mean, I know in my mind what happened. I don't have to live with it. I'm not looking at that calf that was raised to be a full-grown steer for butchering. I don't have to look at that same way with a lamb. And most of us are that way. Oh. Oh, let's see here. Good beef has to have some marbling. Yes, Sharon. A butcher can tell right away. I mean, they can feel a cut and tell you what it's going to be like. And they know by the looks of it where it came from, what part of the steer. I love a good steak and yes, good marbling. Yep. Ed says, I wouldn't stay in one of Jeremy's condos for free. Disgusting. Yep, it is. What's the missus cooking for supper? I don't know. Today, speaking of beef, I went to the store. I had to pick up some medications, and the pharmacy is right there. So I did walk over to the marketing part, where the meat part is there, and picked up a few pounds of hamburger. So we had a hamburger at lunch today. It was ground chuck, and it was good. So, but I don't know what we'll have tonight. I've been in here since I got up from lunch. I came out here and started this thing up, and which reminds me, I'm going to have to cut this short in about 10 more minutes to get back in there. And I imagine most of you are getting pretty hungry too. Let's see. The Peculiar Optic says, he has hidden cameras all over the place. Peculiar Optic says he is a warrior. In my opinion, I think there's something to that effect. Stacy, I hated seeing my grocery bill last night. I bought 8 T-bones, and top sirloin steaks. That would be pricey. That was Sharon. Says, just looking, says, do you cook, Ray? Not much. I mean, we used to barbecue out a lot, and I did a lot of that. My wife is a much better cook than I am. And there's been times my wife's had a back operation. She had an operation on her neck where she had to have that brace put in there. Let's see. Oh yeah, she's had a knee replaced. She's had her feet worked on a couple of times. So there was times where there's no way my wife was going to do something like that, and I had to fill in as a cook. Now my cook is adequate, and I can cook about anything, but not anywhere near the skills that my wife can. So myself, I prefer her food, and she'll eat what I cook, but she critiques it. So she can be a tough person to please in certain things, because I like a little more seasoning than my wife does, and I'm not even sure why I do. But when we were in Louisiana, she would take a sauce or anything that was put into a food, and she could tell you what was in it. And not only that, she could cook it. So when we come back from Louisiana, well, we didn't come back. We moved to Texas from there, but she could duplicate just about everything over there. And we used to get these pizzas from Papa Murphy's that were Asian pizzas, where they're kind of hot. And she'll make them every once in a while, and I love those. And I'd never had them anywhere before, but she was able to pick up on the different seasonings in there, and she's duplicated them. And she does them with tortillas, so that we have individual pizzas off of a tortilla. She's quite a cook. I can't compete with her in that range, but I do fill in when she can't. And I know when my kids came up to help after her neck operation, I cooked for them as well, and they didn't seem to have any gripes about it. They were pretty happy. So, and we had steaks and potatoes and asparagus and all the green beans, whatever was available at the time. I'm just not good. Mike says, I'm going to cook in my place with my wife. There you go. Oh, by the way, to give you an example, I've told you different things. When a person gets married, at a point, you really become one. A man and wife, if they really love each other, they become one. They can speak for each other, whatever. My wife, we were eating hamburgers. She says, I'm glad you got my message. I said, okay, you're the one who told me to pick up hamburger, right? But what happened is I got there at the grocery store, and I thought, hamburger sounds good. I'm going to go get it. I went over there and picked up a few pounds of it. But that's what she meant, was that she was thinking about it and forgot to say anything to me. But there's so many times that she has thought about something like that, and I went ahead and picked it up without realization. But that's becoming one with each other. When your partner's long enough, you think an awful lot alike. Oh, it says here, Sharon, she was, wow, $400 bill for 1 week. That's a lot. I imagine a family with a couple of kids could easily spend $300 or $400 a week without any problem. Sharon said she had that done in November. Yeah, when my wife had that brace put in her neck, they went through the front here. And her neck was partially paralyzed. I had to feed her through tubes for a month. And then when I pulled that out, we came home. They pulled it out in the morning, and she hadn't eaten anything for a month through her, with her mouth. It had all been through tubes. She ate 2 lunches. I mean, full lunches. She was that hungry after that. Now, I fed her at least 3 or 4 times a day through the tubes. She was always full, and that's not counting medications and stuff at the time. So, but her neck had been partially paralyzed after the operation. Something happened, and she works fine now. But I hope you didn't have that kind of a problem after your operation. It says, just looking, says, I have friends where the wife does not cook at all. Hubby does it all. Subway got sued because their foot-long rolls weren't a foot long. Mm-hmm. They're still not Miyagi. They had a thing on that the other day. So they changed the description up there on the menu about the description of the footlongs. They call them footlongs, but they're not necessarily a foot long. So now they don't want to get sued anymore. So they've changed the description up there above the menu there. Road King says, I was raised by a cook and a baker, and all of us learned how to cook. That's a good thing. It's a good thing. Well, everybody, it's getting close to 4:30 Central Standard Time. I've had a good time in here today, and I hope you have too. And I hope next Saturday we can get together and we'll come up with some content. I hope to see you in Lisa's tonight. Don't forget to get over there to Road King and listen to him. He's put some good stuff up there for you to listen to. What else we got to think about? Tori's always got a good channel going. She gives you the Zen effect, so nothing wrong with going over there and watching Tori. She's usually on right up till just a few minutes before Lisa starts her channel up of Two Leaves in a Pod. You know what would be something? Just for the heck of it. We're talking about all this food and the cost of food and everything. What we should do is get Flutter to throw a fish fry up there in Michigan and invite all of us up there on a special flight. Wouldn't that be wonderful? She could catch all those fish that she catches up there just for us. John says, ta-ta, everybody. Time to start from the beginning. Okay. Miyagi says, thanks, Ray. Got the stream. I'm so glad everybody was able to make it today. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Come on back. Have a good time. And just like John said, ta-ta. See you tonight.